the NWF Champion Ace.
Pitts has called the match. For some strange reason, he's giving the victory to Kid Kelsey.
Mr. X declared the new champion.
The new champion, Mr. X.
He's won the title match. Get it back. Bring it around. Don't you cross me, the new champion.
Hello, NWF Fast Forward fans, and welcome back to another episode of NWF Fast Forward live on the NWF YouTube channel and Wrestling Revolution with Keaton's channel. And of course, let's get into the introductions. I am your main host. I am the longest reigning NIPW Junior Heavyweight Champion in history. I am the future NWF World Champion. I am your mum's favorite wrestler. I am the Canary Kid. And of course, as always, I am joined by my co-host. He is the biggest schmuck in wrestling history. He is a 5-time Schmuckerweight champion. He is riddled with dementia. It is Schmucker Crossen, ladies and gentlemen.
Were you ever going to get to just getting my name? You know, Canary, you think you're going to be the NWF champ, you got to get through Ben Nelson first. And we'll see what happens in that match. Remember, I'm reffing it too. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, that's if you make it the reffing it there, because ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a bit of details. We have a sick crusher on our hands. Recently tested positive for the vid. So, again, just
I'm a little under the weather, but you know what? Rain, sleep, or shine, I show up.
Yes.
No sick days for Crusher.
No sick days for Crusher, and just a disclaimer, if you see Crusher, turn off his camera here and there, it's because he's wiping his nose, etc.
Yeah, if my camera goes off, I'm blowing my nose.
Yeah, so, give him the benefit of the doubt.
But anyway, we've got to, well, I was going to say too, when you're saying all that stuff, you just couldn't have kept your nose out on Keaton's show last week. You just had to poke in there. I noticed.
Last week? Oh.
Yeah, it was Sunday. You happened to chime in. Yeah, you had to chime in with Alex, I believe we were talking to. So we're going to have a real interesting show this week. We'll talk about it at the end, but when I get it with Wrestling Revolution Keaton on Sunday here, he wants to talk backyard wrestling. So, everybody's got an opinion on it.
Oh, your favorite subject.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about it, but and then I have a guest. I'm going to bring Wayne McCarty on too. He's done he does photography for Pro Wrestling Illustrated and stuff. And I'm going to bring him on because he knows some backyards, and he's going to try to get guys that were in backyard that went into the indie scene.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get one of those guys too with us. So make it a little bit more of an interesting show. But anyways, but we got a great guest today, guys. And I know we got a lot of people waiting. Oh, by the way, let me just get this comment in quick from Gizmo. He says, "Hey guys, Canary Kid, I wanted to apologize for not being at the last show with Officer Smalls. I watched it in rerun. It was a great episode. My crew was shooting the basketball state playoffs.
Well, you have every right to apologize. How dare you miss out on NWF Forward episode? Who misses out on NWF Fast Forward? Are you out of your mind? You're lucky we're letting you come back here. If it wasn't for the fact you're loyal, you'd be gone. You'd be gone.
I can see why everybody in Northern Ireland wants to get a piece of your hide, but the way you talk.
No. The
But
only
we
people
got it.
who want a piece of anything in Northern Ireland is the babes in Northern Ireland want a piece of the Canary Kid, because he doesn't.
Well, we
Who
got a
doesn't?
great guest, and I think this guy would want a piece of you if he ever got his hands on you. And I'm talking about Global Flyer Drake, the Pure Pro Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion, and he's been at it for a while. And he's gotten, recent stuff I've seen, he's gotten really, really polished. I mean, he's looking good. And so we're going to talk to him, learn what he's all about, show some matches. So let's bring him in here from Michigan, Global Flyer Drake. All right, Drake, welcome in.
Thanks.
Yeah. So now I said 4 to 5 years. When did you start training in the juniors?
20.
I'm sorry?
20.
You're kind of like cutting out on us.
Oh.
Maybe you got to get a little bit closer to your mic, maybe.
20.
I think you said 2016, right?
Nine.
Or 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear you, just like kind of chopping in and out.
Let me-
I'm not sure what's causing that. Do you hear that too, Canary?
Oh yeah. Maybe it's maybe try earphones if you have any. Just a little plug in earphones. Even
Yeah,
there
like
usually be
earphones or earbuds would be
better
might
for
be good,
audio.
Better, a little bit better.
Oh, perfect. He's got a full headset and everything.
Yeah. Sometimes that'll fix it because otherwise we can't understand what you're saying. But 2019, so let's see. I'm thinking now 2019. So that's been 6 years.
Yeah, about 6
Yeah.
years coming up to it.
I know he started in the junior training. She'll talk to him about.
Is this better?
Oh yeah,
Much better.
Great.
So you said 2019. That was the junior training, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And how long were you in the juniors for until you went into the regular training?
I was in the juniors for about a year till COVID hit, and then I came back 2022, and I was in a few junior classes, and that's when they put me in the adults.
All right. And then you never looked back.
No.
I mean, honestly, just looking at you're just so developed now compared to what you were when you first started. When you were on with the
Thank
whole
you.
you were on with Joe and everybody a while back, right? When we all came on, and it was really hard to get anything out of you guys because it was like a big smorgasbord, and Joe was talking too, and it's like, so I said we got to get some of these guys back one-on-one so we can learn a little bit more. You know, we
Yeah.
had Tank on a while back, and that was a great interview.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a good one thing.
yeah. So when did you win this belt, Cruiserweight Championship?
Last May.
Last May.
Yep.
So, man, it's almost coming up on a year.
Oh yeah, real close.
How many title defenses have you had with it?
Man, I lost count. It's multiple every month.
Well, look at there,
So,
Canary. You and your big record. I think he just beat you there, and your longest reign for your junior heavyweight championship. I have to rub it in.
It's not a competition, all right. A good champion's a good champion, or what? And me and Drake were on a similar level here with our, title champion abilities, but we don't need to compare. But speaking of being a champion, as a former champion myself, I wanted to see from your perspective when you first won that championship. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that your first championship?
My second.
Second, okay. So maybe even for the first or second, would you say it was a big transition coming from just being another wrestler to being then the champion? Was it a big transition, like pressure on you, like weight on your shoulders, do you think?
I'd say so. It's definitely a responsibility that they have the trust to put me in a match like that, and just the opportunity they gave me, and it worked out very
Yeah.
well.
Perfect. And then when it comes to being a champion, like, what does that mean to you personally, outside of wrestling, outside of being the Global Flyer Drake? What does being a champion mean to you personally?
Just you got to keep pushing. You can't give up. Champions don't give up. They stay champions.
Yeah.
A winner is a loser that just tried one more time.
Perfect. Couldn't have put it better myself.
And here's a question
On-
from Sky Sports Video News, and then I'll let you keep going, Canary. Drake, what is your age, height, and weight, and how many matches have you been in since? Well, like, what would you have to guesstimate as far as how many matches you've had?
In the 200s, probably
200s. Yeah.
since 2019.
You
I'd say so.
pretty much got me beat, I think. I don't think I was over 200 even in all the years I did it. That's a lot.
Yeah,
So how old are you now?
18.
18. So when you started 6 years ago, you were 12.
Yeah,
And you're what, 150 pounds, I think?
yep.
Yeah. So there you go. And go ahead, Canary, you can keep going. I'll be right back with you.
No problem. So, see, since you've won the championship, I want to know. Obviously, you've been a pure pro for a long time. You know, the fans are getting used to you. Well, they're more than used to you by now. But do you think there's been any change in reaction in a more positive way since you've won that championship?
I think so. When I first walk out the curtains, they see the belt, but I don't let that define me. I just be me, and I let the crowd grow, and they fall in love with me.
Well, yeah, 100%. And, you know, the thing is, most fans, when you're on the build-up to being a champion and you're making your way to a championship, they love you already, or they hate you already. You're doing your job right when you get that championship. So it's very rare that you ever see a more negative drop. But when you win a championship, you always notice that a little bit more because you're walking out with that championship and now you're representing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, when it comes to representing, how does it feel to say, like, when people think of pure pro wrestling, a lot of the time now they're going to think of the cruiserweight champion, Global Flyer Drake. Like, does that feel really good for you, knowing you're a representative of pure pro now?
It really does, knowing from where I started, just a junior grappler, 12 years old, like, what's going to happen with me? What's in my future?
Yeah.
And paving my own way, with help of friends, for sure. But now just being one of the faces of the company, it's unreal. I never would have thought I got here, especially this early and this young. So I'm very grateful.
Well, on that note, Canary's talked about it. Smalls has talked about it. Have you noticed being young that sometimes when you go into the locker room, guys like, who's this kid? Do you not get that respect level until they actually see you in the ring?
Yeah, I definitely say so.
Yeah.
Some people that I haven't worked with before, they look at me, they're like, oh, 18, still kind of small. What can you do? And then after the match, they're like, yeah. So I just be me. I keep my head on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I just do my thing.
Perfect. So you have to do like a lot of the time in wrestling. Like Crusher was saying there, like I've been here not since I was 12, but since I was 14, I've been in wrestling, and a big thing I see all the time is not as much anymore as I get older, but especially when I was much younger and I was wrestling, guys were so awkward about when it came to like underestimating me. It was very common, very common. And again, at the age of 14, you're not going to be the best wrestler on the planet. I wasn't amazing at 14. I look back at myself like most people do in their early days and go, oh God. But that's the thing. That's what I think's really good about what we do here on Fast Forward. It's good to see other young wrestlers, of it, when we see the likes of you and Tank, for example, over in Michigan, and you guys at such a young age, but you're still, like, you're carrying that championship. Like, back when Crusher was around, apart from NWF, nowhere else would you have seen a champion around the age of 18.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And that's your second title at 18. Like, sky's the limit at that point. It's honestly insane. And again, as I said about representing Pure Pro, they have you at the age of 18 as a representative. Like, do you feel like that makes you feel, in a way, very ambitious about your future, because at this age you're already at a level where you're holding 2 championships for Pure Pro?
Yes, for sure. Because those times I was hard on myself, they believed in me. And if they believed in me, then I know that I have what it takes. I just have to put the work in and stay out of my head and just keep going.
Yeah.
And I seen your promo when you won the belt. Very emotional promo, I might add. And I could tell that really meant a lot to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, like Canary mentioned, back in the day, there wasn't much, with that other than NWF with what we were doing. If you were under 18, you weren't in this business back then. So now it's nice because they've, people like Joe and Sean Hernandez down there in San Antonio and with Canary over there in Northern Ireland, they're allowing younger people to get involved. I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. Because wrestling's entertaining no matter what the age is, or the size even. Size doesn't matter. Like, I always say this, but back in the day, if you weren't over 220 pounds, you weren't viable. But now, that's all out the window, right? It's just a matter of how good you are.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, like, it's not just your age, but yeah, as Chris was saying, your size. Like, as he said, you wouldn't have seen wrestlers around me in your weight. Like, you're 150 odds, I'm around 140. Like, you would not seen people of our size at such a decently high level. And then, from your perspective, you're working, like, you've had 200 plus matches in your career already at the age of 18 as a smaller dude. You're holding a championship. Like, you're just defying probably every expectation that was probably put upon you when you first walked in to the doors of Pure Pro. And then that's something I'm going to ask. When you first walked into Pure Pro, and I'm going to actually first ask about the adult classes, did you feel any sort of pressure or any sort of, like, idea that you weren't going to be treated as nicely? Like, was there any big transitions that you had to be made when you first entered the adult classes compared to the juniors?
I was definitely more stressed. I knew they would accept me. I just wondered how long it would take, my bad. But I knew once I got to those adult classes, I just was like, this is how I get to the next level.
Yeah.
And is your guys' adult classes like the way it is in San Antonio, where it's like the kid classes, they're a little bit easier, lighter with you, but when you get to the adult classes, it's kind of pretty much full on?
Yeah, for the kids, they don't push them hard. Well, I wouldn't say that. Like, workouts, yes, but they're not working hard on their
As far as the
bodies,
bumping
like
and everything in the
breaking
ring
them
is-
down.
That
Yeah,
part of it, yeah.
but they're still
Yeah.
very hard working and stuff like that.
And that makes sense because, again, as you know, there's a great thing about starting wrestling young, and that's the idea that you have so much time to develop. So, like, you started at 12, at the age of 22, you'll be a 10-year, at that point, vet, basically. Once you're in about 10 years, you've been in it for a while, a decade of your life put towards this at the age of 22. And that's great and all, but one big downside that a lot of young wrestlers have is your body's still developing. So much more prone to injuries, and that's what I want to know. Do you think have you encountered many injuries in the 6 years that you've been wrestling so far, or would you say you've been quite injury free? Or
Pretty injury free, nothing serious. Soreness, of course, bruises, but nothing serious. Not yet, at least. Fingers crossed.
yeah, well, I suppose that comes into what I always like to say, because it's, if you're good enough, you shouldn't get hurt. Most of the time, in most situations, if you're good enough, you'll be fine.
Couple questions coming in. I want to get out of the way quick, Canary. Damien wants to know, Drake, did people treat you differently after you won your championship? Like other
Maybe.
guys, any animosity in the locker room or anything like that?
I don't think so, but for me it was, because it was easier to approach people in the locker room. Easier to make friends, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
And then Sports Video says, Drake, what is your favorite move in wrestling? And do you have a finisher?
My favorite move is probably the Death Valley Driver, and I'd say my finisher is Flying Knee.
Flying knee? And then this will be kind of a good segue into the watch line that we're going to go to here. Drake, you seem quiet and reserved on this podcast. Is that your normal personality, or are you an animal in the ring?
I'd say both. In person, I'm pretty chill, relaxed, quiet, but in the ring, I flip switches.
Yeah.
I'm uncaged, so I'd say both.
All right, well, let's go to the watch line screen. We'll watch some action as well of Drake in the ring, a couple matches he provided for me, and we'll keep talking.
Perfect.
So here we go.
And yeah, as you were saying there, you feel like you get your emotion and your personality. You come a lot more out of your shell when you get in the ring. Would you say that's something you've noticed in wrestling? Would you say it helped you a little bit more when it came to socializing and being more out there
I'd
at
say
all?
so, yeah. I become
Yeah.
much more of an open book from wrestling.
Now, where's this
Oh, yeah, I
at,
noticed
Drake?
that
What are we
myself.
watching here?
This is not pure pro. This is all class independent wrestling in Waterford, Michigan.
Okay. I was going to ask you too. What happened to that other guy that was going to be on our podcast with us and he didn't make it?
Which
Uh,
one?
you've had matches with him. I can't remember his name now. Remember he was going to be on the podcast, but he couldn't make it.
Was he a junior?
Yeah, he was one of the juniors too, and he's about your age.
Man.
He had a really charismatic interview. Like he was like talking a lot of smack with you.
24K?
24K. Yeah. What happened to
Yeah.
him?
I'm not sure. I know he's doing his thing. He's definitely working hard, getting his name out there. So I'm not sure. I just know he's a busy man.
But he's not wrestling with Pure Pro anymore, though, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because I think Tank said he went to a different promotion that he's working with.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you like the matches with him that you had?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're always fun.
Yeah.
And then, so this venue here, how many people would you say you got in it there?
You said what?
How much people do you think you have in attendance for a show?
I'm sorry, my mic's cutting out, or
Like
my headphones.
how many people are there in attendance?
Oh, here at this show?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I know they sold out.
Perfect.
I mean, it looks like maybe 100, right?
Maybe around that, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now,
here we
the
go.
only
Was
reason
this
it
your
got
first time working for this place?
I was gonna say, you guys, before you, just so you know, that when the audio goes low like that, I just have to limit the audio when there's music. Otherwise, we get tagged for copyrights, and it could stop the stream. So, anyway, keep going.
Um,
This is my first match here, but I went to another show here for this company, but I didn't wrestle. I just got involved in some shenanigans, I'd say.
Perfect. Best way to get started. And then, yeah, again, keeping it on the idea of, expectations and pressure. Would you say there was pressure on you for your debut here?
I'd say so, yeah. Sam Beal, great in the ring, great worker, great dude. Even though we beat the crap out of each other, he's high level, and there was definitely pressure on me.
Yeah, well, again, as you're saying, like the guy Sam Beal there, based off what you're saying, I'm assuming you guys get on well. And I'm assuming that kind of, calmed your nerves a little bit going into this. And yeah, you're saying you beat the crap out of each other when you're in the ring, and I find personally myself as well, you're much more common to hit a lot harder with people you're closer to, because
Oh, yeah.
like, it can be a lot chiller rather than going in there with someone first time meeting them and then, hit one of them a little bit too hard and then the whole thing starting. So
Are those like
I get
are
that.
those shin pads you're wearing?
Kick pads, yeah.
Kick pads. Is that a thing? Do people wear those a lot in wrestling?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'd say so. Maybe more the younger
They seem more,
generation, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They seem more like a kind of MMA kind of kick pads in a way.
hmm
Once you got on here, kind of sick. And then, when's this match from?
I want to say February, March, around that time.
Okay. So, hadn't quite won the championship yet? Or, oh no, you won it last May, the year before?
Yeah, in a different company.
Yeah, okay, yeah, alright. So,
This looks like about a 16-footer, maybe a 14-foot ring, huh?
I think so.
It looks like it might be 16.
yeah, I would assume about 16. Could be wrong.
I was catching air on these.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, good little bill toss, like.
While we're watching, I got a question here from Damien. Ricky, do you feel you could hold your own against Drake? I don't know what he means by 10 years on him. I don't think it's 10 years because, Ricky,
Oh.
you've been at it 3. So he's got
Yeah,
maybe 3 years on him. But
Yeah, so, yeah, he's, Drake's got 3 years on me, but I like to think that me personally, no matter who I'm against, no matter how talented, even if they are as talented as Drake is, that I can hold my own against most people, and that's why I get the opportunities that I get, and that's why I've been to the places I've been. So yeah, no matter who it was, I'm always going to answer with yes, I can hold my own against him, but I know that Drake would definitely be one of the more challenging ones for sure.
But
I know,
there's one person though that I guess I can safely say you duck and dodge, and that's me.
Shit.
I mean, you won't get in the ring with Crusher, but that's okay.
All right, Crusher, how about you stop making yourself the face of the show here, and we talk about that
I
nasty
knew
double
you'd
stomp for
try
a
to turn
second.
it on me. I knew you'd try to turn it on me like that.
It was brutal. Never seen that kind of stomp.
What's the count to get back in the ring? 10 or 20 when you're both out?
10.
10.
Yep.
Yeah, in the NWF we had 20 count when both of them were out. Isn't that weird?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's
Is it a
20 if
little
you're
faster?
both. Yeah, they go fairly quick, but yeah. But if you're
I
both
gotcha.
out, it's 20. If one person's out, it's 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same as me. I
That's
like
actually that's actually funny enough. I don't think it's for both people. I think it could be wrong. It may just be in general, or it could be for both people. But I know in Japan, that's usually the rules they have there.
that. Yeah.
And we have a promotion here, like over down south in Dublin, and they have a very they do the 20 count as well. And I always think it's pretty cool to have the 20 count because it can make things a little bit better for a certain match type. Maybe it's like you're wanting to work a little bit longer on the outside, more interactive. You get that
Yeah,
20 seconds.
You
But
take your time out there to do something. You don't have to do it quick.
yeah, but I feel like Crusher, what you were saying, like I feel like you guys did it right with that one. The idea of because there's 2 people out, you double the count. I feel like that's a cool idea. I think that's a lot more efficient in a way.
Yeah. And I remember we had a 20 count. I remember one of my match with Macho at the Armory went to a 20 count count out for both of us. So we actually did it.
It's got the 20 seconds you guys had. Probably
Yeah.
longer because the referee isn't counting in exact seconds.
Right.
And you still somehow drew by double counting.
Here's a question from Sports Video for you, Drake. He says, "You take a lot of bumps in this match, and you keep popping right back up. You must have a strong core workout."
I'd say so. Yeah. And it's conditioning as well too, conditioning my body, and then
Yeah.
just cardio,
Oh yeah.
plus the never give up spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the physical
that's something,
conditioning that people don't realize what it takes in wrestling to be. You have to condition
Yeah.
your body.
And
You know.
that's the thing. I was literally just about to say a very similar thing. We've had people come to train with us before, and they've had like rugby backgrounds, soccer backgrounds, MMA backgrounds, and they'll come in this great like condition and great shape, and somehow, some way, they're still outside like puking after the cardio. And I genuinely think there is no cardio on the planet that can prepare you for wrestling than a wrestling workout.
Exactly.
It's its own thing. It's like the strain on your body is enough as it is, but funny enough, in an MMA fight, as amazing as MMA is, you're not up and down, up and down, up and down like 40 times in the one MMA fight. You're down and then you're up and then you're up again for most of it, or you're staying down for most of it. But for
Yeah.
wrestling, it's a lot of up and down. It's insane and it's such pressure. And the whole time you have to remember that you're a character. It's such a physically demanding way of doing theater when you think about it.
Very much.
Yeah, it's insane.
Wow, this is a really good match.
Oh.
That was
Crowd's
pretty
really
scary.
getting into it.
I never got caught like that out of midair.
Oh, that's a nice. You're really taking those nice.
This guy's a unit.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Now, do you remember where you guys were on the card for this match?
Mid card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, it's always good to have that like one really fast-paced match plopped straight in the middle, like a match
yeah.
like this. You know, just to wake the fans up again from the show so far.
Oh yeah.
It's always good to have that.
And it's still pretty fresh, you know.
Yeah, they're still going to get into it enough.
Oh yeah.
It's a great place to be. Going out of here, going full Japanese.
And there's a code. There's a code between wrestlers, between competitors, and if nothing else, Drake is showing that you can go at that top level. Sam Beal is fired.
All right. Oh shit.
Another one.
Oh, he's got the handspring. Oh.
Getting flashbacks.
No, this match is insane.
Yeah, we're kind of quiet, guys, because we're just watching this.
Yeah, I'm finding myself having to like click myself back into reality every once in a while because this is like sick match. We've seen some matches here. Like I'm gonna be as transparent as possible. We've seen a lot of matches here on the Forward shows. You know, we see multiple every time we have a guest, but this could be one of my favorites. This is
I appreciate
insane.
that.
No, honestly, I really like that. Really high
Appreciate
quality,
that.
very clean stuff. Like,
Yeah, it's got a very, very good feel to the flow of the match.
Setting Sam Beal up now. Beal's fighting back. Both men in a precarious position. Down goes Drake. Sam Beal, second turnbuckle on the inside. Another Inzy hits.
Looks like you got a welt on your back there from something.
Oh yeah, I had a bruise for about a week after this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He joins Sam Beal. They're going all the way up top, but Sam Beal in control.
oh, Stain.
Takes him
Oh.
top rope. And Sam's still not going for a pin yet. That has got to do it.
Unreal.
All right, now we're going to the next match, and this one is
sick.
Thank you. It was definitely fun, and a rematch is definitely wanted.
Oh yeah, I want a rematch after seeing it. To be honest, that was really good. That was really entertaining. And what is this? So what's this promotion
Pure
that you're
pro.
working out here?
this one's a pure
This is Pure Pro. Okay.
Mhm.
It's a big
Oh
venue.
yeah, there's the banner.
Oh yeah, probably my favorite one that we run. Basic.
It's in like a theater.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
it's kind of.
historic Masonic temple.
It's very like Hammerstein Ballroom kind of vibes here. I like it.
So is this like a triple threat match?
Yeah, it was planned for me and Derringer, champion versus champ, and then Rohit wanted a piece, so we made it a triple threat.
All right.
These two matches I sent you are definitely some of my favorites.
Yeah. Have you worked
Well,
with
yeah,
these
it's-
guys before?
Mm,
Or is this the first time?
I worked with Dylan before in a triple threat, and I recently worked Rohit in the same venue at the main event one-on-one.
And obviously, like a triple threat match, it's so good when you can get in with the right people, but it's always an awkward one to like set up because that extra man just makes things so much more weird, and you're trying to be
Double
creative
drop
and not
kick.
make it 3 singles matches at once. So far, it seems like you guys have came off a good start. So
Thank you.
far, it's good. And I'm assuming Rohit's going into this as the only real kind of heelish character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick.
Here's a comment from Gizmo for you, Drake. He says, talk about that last match. That was a hardcore wrestling match. He doesn't mean hardcore, he just means a good match, right?
Mhm.
You showed guts and determination while you were in the ring. It looks like you have a bright future ahead of you in wrestling. It will be fun to watch you grow.
I appreciate that. All the support, it keeps me going. I really mean it.
Gizmo's one of our regulars. He watches everything. The rewinds, the forwards.
Hell yeah.
Perfect tag roll right there. Huntsburg. That was a great crowd.
Oh yeah.
They are into that.
One of the reasons I love that place isn't just the venue, it's definitely the fans too.
Yeah, 100%. I like to think that the fans are the people who really make a venue good.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you can get a rowdy fan base in a big area, it's perfect. Almost took out the camera person there.
Yeah. Messed my tailbone there. Hit the stage after that suicide dive. Man, for a couple weeks I was hurting.
You land on your tailbone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take a while to heal. I've done the same thing, but not on that move, but similar stuff. Yeah, you can be sore for a while.
Definitely the worst place to land on in wrestling. Obviously apart from your neck, like, but
Oh yeah.
it's not great to land there.
No.
There's a little bit of a promo.
I was
So
gonna
it's a
say
video.
it's funny we don't have ads on these videos yet, but you're still somehow getting ads, guys. So yeah, if anyone's interested in the fan raffle, go ahead.
Drake,
Yeah,
do you
this
help
match
out?
was in
do you help-
December.
Do you help out with the junior training at all? Do you like help out coaching at all or anything?
With the juniors,
Yeah.
if they need help, they can come to me. There's one junior that does, and every time I'm right there for any question, guidance, or advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what we're talking about right here, the junior grapplers. This is really good. I mean, Joe's been at this for a while, though. He's really been working on this whole program, you know,
Oh, yeah.
making it to make it what it is. So he's got it. I know Sean Hernandez speaks real highly of Joe as far as his junior grapplers. He's trying to do this similar thing, you know, in San Antonio.
And he's got a good thing going, Hernandez, like, for sure, with smalls and stuff, like,
Yeah.
it's looking good there. And yeah, from what I'm seeing here, it looks like the younger people you guys have, like, they're competent enough, and, you know, you came out of there and, like, look where you're at now, so it's, you know, it's getting it, it's clearly producing, like, positive talent, like, the kind of talent that, you know, you guys kind of want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I believe so.
All right, we're continuing on now. That ring looks like it's got some nice spring to it.
Those boards, very
Yeah.
balanced.
It's always good to get in the ring with a little bit of bounce too. Just makes every bump look unreal.
Yeah.
Especially if you get like two heavy dudes in there hitting like suplex or some shit. The apron goes like flies up.
Oh yeah,
Great
and you'll
photo.
see the boards bounce too when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. You get to see that little like shoot. It's unreal.
That's dope.
So this is a Friday night fights. Does this happen on Fridays then at this place?
Oh nah, Friday Night Fights is a pure pro wrestling thing we do at the barn we practice at, and it's actually tonight where it's once a month I believe, and we just have a bunch of matches where we practice at. It's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Have you traveled anywhere outside of Michigan? Any other indie leagues? Have you kind of ventured anywhere?
Ohio and Indiana.
Ohio and Indiana?
Yep. Hoping to grow that list this year for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what's your ambition? Like, where do you want to go? Do you like? I mean, obviously everybody would like to get to the WWE, and I mean that goes without saying. But
Mhm.
you know, where do you see yourself? Like, where would you want to start trying to venture and get into? What would be your next goal?
Just get my name out there, go anywhere I can, and just prove who I am, and just make a name for myself.
Well, yeah, understandable. Like, and that's a good thing. That I almost envy about wrestlers from the United States is you guys have so much promotions and so much opportunities there that it's, opportunities are endless, and you're already working people like Rohit, who I'm all the way over here in Ireland. Even I know who Rohit Raj is. Like, it's just opportunities like that are good ones to have. And I saw you guys had Silas Young and stuff like that. Those are good people to have so far. And you know, again, as I said, you're in the States. I'm sure your coach, he's probably full of like connections and stuff like. So they're going to start coming, and especially since you're 18, like it's people are going to be a lot more okay booking you than they will have previous years.
Oh yeah,
So it'll all just start falling into place.
I really hope so. I feel like I could do it.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like I'm watching you, and you have like the tiny things down. Like there was a point in the match I didn't speak about, but it was Rohit just for the other guy in the ring and was like selling out, and you jumping in, grabbing his leg just to get cut off again. It's little shit like that that no one sees. I feel to do it myself. I'm not going to act like I'm perfect, but it's good that you're doing it. You have it locked to do shit like that, and like there you were selling your leg, like hop into the ropes, and like little things to just remember this stuff
Oh yeah,
means so much to every person in wrestling, I like to think.
I agree.
Have you ever worked a match with Tank? Since we've had him on, I'm curious.
Tags a bunch, and I went against them a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here's a question from Sports Talk 117. I didn't bring this one in, I don't think. Drake, what are the youngest wrestlers your company puts out in a show like this? So in other words, like the junior grapplers, do they do the shows at all or anything like that?
They do some shows. It's up to Joe. I think they do shows every couple months, so every other month when the program ends for that season, then we'll put them on the card. Yeah, they'll usually open
What
the
would be
shows.
the youngest that you'd have in the ring,
I don't even know.
or roughly,
Probably elementary kids.
like maybe 12 years old, like you were when you started,
Probably a little younger.
even younger?
Yeah.
Well, you guys just did that over in Northern. By the way, Ricky, a joke for you. What's a 7-course meal in Ireland?
you're gonna say something dumb like 7 pints? Ha ha ha.
6-pack and a potato. I thought that was funny.
You know, it's really funny. I'm gonna ruin your joke here real quick. You wanna know why the Irish stereotype for potatoes came about?
Why?
It's because when we were colonized by England, they refused to let us eat anything else but potatoes and took every other food that we had naturally off us. So we were forced to only eat potatoes. That's why the famine did us even worse than it should have. So basically, you just joked about colonialism on a podcast live. Everyone, like, can we like get a clip of that? Crusher Crossing jokes about colonialism that led to many deaths.
Colonialism. Isn't it colonization you're trying to say?
Yeah,
I
but
think he's using some weird term that we'd never heard of over here.
Yeah. Oh, is that the American education system showing in you there, Crusher? You don't know the word colonialism?
Colonialism. Sounds like a cologne.
I'm in a country full of alleged drunks, and even I know that word. See, us leprechauns are smarter than you think.
Just remember, buddy boy, I'm coming over there soon enough.
Sadly.
So
You're going to be another one of those tourists who run around being like, "Hey, you know, I'm actually part Irish."
we don't
You're gonna be
talk
another one of
we
those.
don't talk like that. I don't know what that. I'm trying to figure out
Oh
what
no,
part
not
of the
everyone.
country.
You.
I'm trying to think of what part of the country you're trying to do an accent of.
Oh,
I don't
just
know
you
what
in
that
general.
would be.
Never seen another
Superplex.
American talk like that. Just you. See, it's not triple threat much about this.
I was going to say, where'd the third guy go? I didn't realize he was on the bottom turnbuckle there. Who the hell's this?
Yo.
What are these guys, the tag team
Aw.
champs? They got
Yeah.
tag belts, it looks like.
No DQ also.
You mentioned you had another belt. What was it?
It used to be the tag champs
Oh, you were
when I was
part of that.
17.
Okay.
Oh, so this is your first singles championship?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is that a tennis racket?
Yeah.
Got like a Jim Cornette gig here. Does that say pretty boy on his ass?
I think so.
Crusher, you should get something like that.
Kind of looks
That
like
would be your
Dead
kind of
Gorgeous
fashion.
gear. It almost looks like the Dead Gorgeous gear with the hearts.
It
and-
does. I was thinking that myself. It looks, and the guy has the hair. It looks like Ben.
Yeah. So they just interrupted the whole damn thing, huh?
Yup. But we eventually get help.
And yeah, it's still match still on. It's no DQ, right? Good triple threat.
There was DQ, but got thrown out.
Oh, okay.
Is that a pretty good manager guy? Is like he do good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a
Yeah, he
comment
seems
from
pretty
Sky Sports Video News just came in. I like the use of multiple cameras. The switching of the cameras makes things look faster and more professional. Very easy to follow. The wrestlers are well trained. Yeah, multi-cameras shots are always better. Like I was
Yeah, I'd
telling
agree.
Smiles, I was telling Smiles, you know, he's got like he had access to a GoPro. I said, what you should do is put the GoPro somewhere and then have somebody film the match with their phone or whatever, and then you can easily edit that together, and it'll look like a nice pro shot, you know, for when
Shout
they go to
out
think.
Life and Contrast Media, our very talented photographers and videographers.
Yeah,
Yo. They make us look like superstars. It's crazy.
No, it's great to have like a good, you know, videography and photography team on these kind of shows, especially when you're in such a nice venue. You've got talented wrestlers, but if it's a bad quality of footage, it just won't feel the same. But this is like super professional. Like I feel like I am watching like a live, you know, TV wrestling. Like this is
Yeah.
great quality.
Midwest Misfits. What's that? Is that the name of the tag team?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's these guys. So we're pretty much done with your match, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is just kept on going a little bit. So yeah, so that was pretty cool stuff. I can see why he sent me those matches, just to see where you're at from what I seen when Joe. You know, we're on with Joe. You know, from that point, like he didn't have much to to have for me to watch. We had some older stuff of you, and so it was cool to see some more updated, you know, more modern stuff.
Mhm.
So what is your next date coming up? When's the next show for you that you're booked on?
This Sunday, I'm in Ohio.
Ohio?
Yup.
Is that part of Pure Pro or is that a different gig?
It's a different promotion.
Yeah.
Yup.
Are you defending your title or no?
No. But April 11th, I'm with Pure Pro at Owasso High School. I might be defending the belt. I don't know. But April 12th, biggest show of the year, Retro Slam. I'll also be defending the belt.
Yeah, I seen you posting that. So yeah, but you're the long. And I was gonna say, Canary, your longest reign streak is about to get beat. I think Crooks is gonna beat you on that pretty quick here.
Well, here's the thing.
And Global Flyer Drake already has beat you there.
Oh yeah, not competing with other people. I'm just competing with people on our place. And the thing is, Crusher, if you actually look, the date of our next show, where DD Crooks faces Sage Valentine in a dog collar match, April 5th. Had to remember there. If DD Crooks loses, I will still be the longest reigning champ by 1 day. So I need Sage Valentine to beat him just that time, and I'll still be longest reigning champ. I'll script it by a day, but I'll still have it over him. So Sage, if you're watching this, do me the favor, please beat him, please. Like I need
it's
this.
your
Do
one
me a solid.
bragging right because you can't say undefeated anymore and for the tag team.
Yeah, I can't say undefeated in tag team wrestling. I can't say I'm undefeated. Like I can't say I'm long reigning champ if Sage loses. It'll all be downhill. But I guess I could just take the greatest NWF World Champion of all time. I guess I could take that or something.
Well, the greatest of all time. I don't know about that.
Well,
Here's the other thing. We talked to Smiles about it. Drake, if this idiot would happen to win that belt, would you be willing to go out to take him on for the title if he ever came over here?
Title or not, down to any challenge, man.
Yeah, that would be.
And see, that's the mindset we need. That's not the mindset that we see on our forum. People like Ben Nelson, who has I've used strong words before, and after getting a talk from the guys behind NWF Forward, I'm just going to use the term a little bit afraid. I like to see from Ben Nelson because we haven't heard much from him ever since the title match got announced. He's been quite quiet. You notice that? And in our last match, he cars on the ground, holding his knee, crying.
He's probably just training and getting ready for it to make sure he's going to be ready to go.
He's a puss. That's what he is. He's taking tag team matches against Cowboys and everything. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why Jordan's still kind of around that dead weight, but you know what? That'll be me getting into the dark rabbit hole. But I don't understand why.
Well,
Jordan
you're one to talk.
puts up with him.
Well, listen, so Drake, you don't know the story, but Canary blew it in his tag team match the last show at the dojo. He got in made a big confrontation with his tag team partner, and then his partner arguing with him, and next thing you know, he gets pinned.
Who got pinned?
And that was all you, Canary. You caused
Who
all
got
that.
pinned?
John,
who
because
got
he was
pinned.
arguing with you.
Oh, John got pinned. Yeah, that's right. Just double checking that we saw the same match. The same match where Drake, hear me out on this, right? I want you to hear me out. I go an entire match knowing my opponent's injured, and I don't touch the knee where Ben had an injury. I respected that. But then at the end of the match, I decided, well, we've been going for a while. It's about time we start wrapping this up. These people have places to be. So then I kick him in the knee. And then I get complained at by everybody, called a bad guy, and then we lose because my tag team partner argues with me for trying to win a match by using a legal maneuver. Do you see where I'm coming from here?
I see, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah. You took a low road. You tried to take the easy way out, doing a low blow like that. I never did shit like that. Ever did I do that kind of thing.
It didn't.
But look at
Wasn't a
you.
low blow. Wasn't a low blow.
Oh, kicking
It was
somebody in a sore
shot
knee.
to the knee.
Yeah, it's not a
Shot to the knee.
disqualification, but man, you're
Well, maybe don't go into a match with an
Right,
injury
right.
then. He could pull out. And he complains when he gets hit somewhere with an injury. Don't be dumb enough to walk into a match with someone as smart and psychologically aware as the Canary Kid with an injury. What do you expect? I'm going to get frustrated, so I'm just going to calm myself down and we'll move on with the N3, please.
We'll move on. So back to Drake. So how many? Now I don't know if I asked you, but how many title defenses? You don't know how many title defenses you've had with it, huh?
No, I really don't. I lost count.
See, that's it. Canary's all here. Oh, I had 4 title defenses in the big long ring. Drake can't even remember. That's how many he's had. So,
Well, that's perfectly fine. But once again, it's not a competition here, Crusher. I'm not one to make comparisons. I acknowledge Drake's doing a great job, and I'm sure he acknowledges the amazing job I did as the longest reigning junior heavyweight champion in NIPW history. Like, also the youngest. Might I add, like, I'm just breaking records left, right, and center. This record breaking stuff,
That's
kind of
true.
easy
I'm
when you
just
think about it.
giving. If I can, I have to needle the Canary Kid though. It's part of my thing. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but yes, I shouldn't tease him on that part of it. But it was a big accomplishment for Canary. We got a comment coming in here from Damien. I'm just waiting for it to hit. There we go. I think Ben is in the woods like Rocky did before he fought Drago. Ben is pulling sleds in the snow and chopping wood, building his stamina and for his fight with Ricky. That's what he thinks.
Ben. Who's going to tell him that Ben's a cripple and can't even walk on one knee? How's he pulling sleds? And in what snow? I'm in Ireland. It's just rain. Know your geography before you make such a stupid comment. Get that comment away. You're an idiot. You know what? With your stupid Rocky references.
I think somebody's a little disturbed. It isn't like anytime you mention somebody he doesn't like, man, that's the other thing I should tell you about Drake. If you insult Canary, you become his enemy. He's always been that way.
Why would I like people who insult me?
Well, it's called
I know what you just did right there.
Sometimes it's called
You just
constructive
insulted all these
criticism.
people. You're insulting their intelligence by saying the dumbest shit I've ever heard. What? He doesn't like people if they insult him. Who does?
You got to be pretty.
I'm sorry.
You're just thin-skinned in Ireland, I guess. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I guess Crusher, you're a little bit, thick-skinned. I guess is the term.
So, now you said something's going on tonight, though, too, right? That they're having. Are you going to that as well?
Probably not. No, they're getting pretty ready pretty soon to get that started, so I won't be able to make it, but I'll definitely be watching.
And that's is it a training show type thing they do?
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the wrestlers are the fans, but it's pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah. And then do you guys help are you part of helping set the ring up and everything
Yes.
as well and kind of involved in the back end of things like that?
Yeah. Set
Yeah.
up and tear down.
Yeah, I think that's good to know, to be involved with.
Well, yeah, especially when it's independent wrestling. Like, for any people who are looking or just getting into indie wrestling and starting to just get into pro wrestling, please, for the love of God, do not be one of those people who don't show up for the ring build. You will immediately get a bad reputation. Don't do it. Don't make the mistake. Always help out with the ring build. It's the worst part of being a wrestler, I know, but please, everyone, don't be that guy for your own sake. Everyone will have a lot more respect for you if you just help out. You just be helpful. You just be there. Because again, if you see wrestling in a way as like a job, you can't in a job just don't work. There's loads of levels to jobs, and that's the same with wrestling. Like if you're on a construction site, you're not just going to mix concrete the whole time. You're actually going to do a couple other things, and that's how I like to think of wrestling is. You're not just going to wrestle and then talk. No, you're also doing the behind the scenes stuff until you make it, and then you might not have to do that stuff, but you're going to have to do that until then. So people watching this, if you're a wrestler, please be helpful. Unless you're someone like Crusher who has really bad back issues and bed sores, so may struggle to bend over
Yeah.
to simply just lift a piece of padding.
The only I wish I could say I was going over to Ireland to kick his ass. The only time I'm going to get my hands on him is in the kids training class, and I will.
You
and,
won't.
And then we'll see if you can handle Crusher Crossen, but it won't be on camera for anybody to see, unfortunately, because he's afraid.
I'm going to ask a question that I ask every guest we have on this show, right? Do you think, Drake, that assaulting the elderly is good?
No, I don't.
Therefore, you agree that it would be wrong of me to physically attack Crusher Crossen?
I believe so. Yeah.
So what we agree is I have a perfect reason not to have a match with you, Crusher.
It's a nice excuse.
There we go. Hatchet buried.
I don't know how much. It was a nice try, but it didn't work.
Exactly what it is. I would be assaulting the elderly, and I have too much respect for my elders. All right. Although
right.
I think you're a dumb, senile old man, I
So
still have respect for most of my elders,
let
and I
me.
still have enough respect not to end your life in a heartbeat.
Are you done?
I'm dumb for now.
Let me ask Drake this: is there a pure pro like heavyweight championship as well?
Yes, there is.
Is that something on the horizon that you'd like to get a crack at?
In the future, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be patient.
And do you have any brothers at all?
I have a couple. Yes.
They're not interested though in wrestling. Are you the only one?
Yeah. Well, when they were younger, they were. They're big supporters, but they're not that into it. Like to train.
Right.
Mm.
Do you have
So
any
you're the only one.
friends at all that you got to come into it, or have you made any friends that you consider really good friends now?
I've had a few be able to come to the shows, but they don't train. Like they like it. They like wrestling, but they'll just watch it.
Yeah.
But I've definitely made a lot of friends from wrestling.
Sure.
And yeah, that's the good part about wrestling. Like for me, up until recently, I used to see people like Ben Nelson as like a brother to me, but now it's a very limited number of people. You know, when you reach a certain level, and I'm assuming you're starting to notice now, when you reach a certain level of greatness, a lot of people start falling behind and get jealous, and that's exactly what happened with Ben Nelson. To be completely honest, but I'm not getting sidetracked. But no, yeah, wrestling's great. You meet honestly people that for me, there's a lot of people in wrestling who I see are going to be there for the long run in life, just in general, and you meet amazing people just because they're interested in a similar thing to you and they respect the stuff you do and you respect the stuff they do and you have that kind of bond where to me I said it to the guys not too long ago, like I see almost everyone who trains with us as family at this point, and I'm assuming you're at that level. 6 years, like you start seeing people like so often that it becomes just routine. You see them as like a similar amount as you would see family members at that point, if not more. You just become that close to certain people, and yeah, that's a
Uh,
great thing about wrestling. You honestly,
Oh yeah,
if you,
semi pro, we're definitely like a big family.
yeah,
Well,
exactly, and
on that note, you guys, I'm always curious of this, or have you seen it? I remember back in the day with Eddie Sharkey in the locker room vibe. What it was back then was everybody thought they were going to be the next WWF then, WWF star. So everybody is just looking out for number one, right? They just looked out for themselves, and you
Mhm.
could feel it. Have you ever come across that kind of vibe with guys, or is it pretty much everybody works more like a group, and you're in this to make a good show and everything?
It's more like a group. We're all here
Yeah.
for different types of goals, dreams. Sometimes some people just do it for fun. Some people want to take it far, but that's everyone's opinion, their own opinion. We're just here to have fun.
But you've never seen
yeah,
that anywhere when you've traveled, like people having that kind of like attitude, like my shit doesn't stink, and you're just
Not
part of,
much.
you're just my stepping stone on the way to the top type of thing.
Not much.
Yeah.
well, no, yeah, I do, yeah, 100%. Like, and I think the reason that we see so much more of a supportive environment in the Indies is honestly because a lot of people are really content being on the Indies. The Indies pays a lot better than it did back then when it was like around your time crusher and like
Yeah,
the Indies
30,
for a lot
30,
of
40
people.
bucks a match is what you'd get.
Yeah, and the Indies can also lead to a lot of fun for people. Like, for example, like that Matt Cardona used to be Zack Ryder on WWE. He's having the time of his life. He says now being on the Indies and he's not signing anywhere because he's enjoying it too much being free. And a lot of people just enjoy the Indies, and you didn't have that back then. So I think people are a lot more content where they are at times. And yeah, sure, for me personally, I've encountered egos. I have encountered egos like in wrestling. And I do believe that everyone has to have a tiny bit of ego in them to be a wrestler. You can't be super like, yeah, I guess I'm okay. You have to believe in what you do and believe at times that you're the dog's bollocks in pro wrestling. That's what you have to do. But
Right.
and again, doesn't mean to go out and think, I'm too good for this place, because a big thing I like to believe is that nobody's bigger than the event, no matter who walks in to our shows, for example, where when we're running our smaller shows, we're in a warehouse with 60 odd people in this compact little warehouse. I like to think even if Triple H walked through those doors, he's not bigger than the show. Nobody is bigger than the event because no fan pays a ticket to go, I want to see this person only and then I'm going to leave afterwards. What fan does that? No, the majority of them are going to come because they want to see a wrestling event, no matter who's on it.
Well, I think
And
I think what it was though, Ricky, is the reason Eddie was like that with Eddie's in the PWA was because everybody knew that he trained the Road Warriors and he trained Jesse Ventura and he trained Bob Backlund and
yeah,
all these guys that made it. So they figure, okay, I'm working with him now. I'm going to be the next one, And I think
yeah,
that's what kind of fueled part of that in a way. It was a real. That was the only thing I didn't like about the PWA. I loved wrestling, but I just hated the politics of all of that, because I didn't really care for my I'm not gonna jeopardize a match just to make somebody else look really good so they can make it. You know what I mean? If
yeah,
it's gonna kill somebody's gimmick or character or whatever, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know?
To be fair, I do see egos, but me personally, I've never encountered anyone really go out there with the idea of, I want to make this guy look like shit, or I'm just going to kill his character. Like I don't see anyone do stuff like that out of spite. Like a lot of people will just come
Well,
in
it's
and
not that, but I think it's more like
Yeah.
they just try to get all the spotlight. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no,
in a
I get where you're
match,
coming from.
to
And
make themselves just get all their offensive moves in and everything.
yeah, but no, when it comes to the egos that I've encountered, none of them have been like unbearable. Like a lot of them are just like they think they're better than you are, and a part of you just wants to like let them know, bro, you're not that good. Like, I hate to be a dick, you're not that good. Obviously, you can't go around telling people you're not as good as you think you are, pal. But yeah, a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there is a certain number of people that I've seen who, think they're way up here, or we've had people come into our shows and complain that the crowd wasn't loud enough for me, and I'm like, well, you didn't do a good enough job. They'll blame. We've seen people blame the crowd instead of blaming themselves, but then 2 matches later, the crowd's going apeshit. So it was clearly not the crowd. And then we've seen people come in and be like, "What? I'm losing!" Like, and I'm like, "Stop! You're losing a fake fight. It's not."
Yeah, I know. Everybody's got to remember it's a work. It's a performance.
Yeah,
It's just show here.
I don't know why people get
Yeah.
bothered about who's losing their predetermined fight. It's wrestling. I don't get if you look at wrestling and go, "I want to do that because I want to win every match." Like, bro, you didn't age past 7. Just call it a day at that point. Like, it's not for you. And honestly, a good part of wrestling is being able to help people get over. I love being able to help them, and honestly, you can't just help someone completely. Just it's like if I'm helping someone get over, it's never just me. It's obviously they're doing a great job too, but I love the feeling of like helping someone out in that way, and that's a great part of wrestling. I'm sure you
Yeah,
both can.
and a lot of guys they'll think that if they're going to help somebody get over, they're just burying themselves. They're not. Look at Ric Flair.
No.
Ric Flair
Yeah,
got so
who's
many
gonna
people
affect that?
over, and he's still the greatest. One of them, at least.
Yeah,
So
Ric Flair's honestly, Ric Flair's so good, and his work. A lot of people don't look at his work enough. I think from when he was like 50. Like 50-year-old Flair was another level. Like early 2000s to mid 2000s, Ric Flair, he was working like velocity shows and just having bangers with like Val Venus or something. Like he was entertaining. And that's the way people need to be in wrestling. Like Ric Flair, people still look at and go, one of the best of all time. 16-time champ, but he was putting people over left, right, and center. He was never, although Ric Flair had his own issues, he never had a problem with putting someone else over, and that's something you have to respect in a way when it comes to wrestling. I think a lot of people could learn from that.
yeah, because not only that, when you start arguing, especially if you start arguing about it, like if you start arguing with the promoter about the finish or about who's going over, that's not going to get you very far in that league.
Yeah.
So, or that indie promotion, and they're going to remember that, and they're going to think like, all right, fine, you're just going to lose the next 10 matches.
Oh yeah, especially if it's like with Nathan, like our promoter Nathan, like my coach, he holds a grudge and he's very spiteful at times. If he has the slightest reason to, you're going on a losing streak. Like if you give him the slightest bit of issue, he's like, yeah, you're losing your next 10. Like
Now,
he
I got
can
a
be
question for Drake before I forget. Who was your inspiration, like in wrestling? Who was it that got you interested in the beginning?
My old babysitter. He used to talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin all the time.
Yeah.
And then my friends got into it. I was like, oh, this is what he was talking about.
And what
I just fell in love
wrestler?
with it.
What wrestler was it that you really looked up to in the beginning?
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
So it's the same with this guy.
That's dope.
Well, yeah, I feel like I actually had a conversation with a bunch of guys in my school, and we were talking, and they aren't like diehard wrestling fans. They just used to watch it a bit growing up, and obviously they know like I'm a wrestler, so they were talking to me about it. And it was one of them that she did say like Rey Mysterio was an inspiration to him for the simple fact, and I'm pretty sure Patrick Patterson brought it up on Keaton's podcast, Crusher, because you were a little kid, like a little tiny guy, and you were looking and just seeing this other little tiny dude becoming a world champ, winning Royal Rumbles, like doing everything, and that's
Oh yeah.
inspirational with a cool ass mask on, and baggy short, like trousers, like that was, like he just stood out as like he was different in every way, and
Mhm.
for a little guy, like for guys like us who aren't the biggest dudes, we aren't going to be an NFL quarterback anytime soon, but you know we look at Rey Mysterio and say, well, if he can do it, why can't we? You know,
Yeah.
and that started an influx of people like Daniel Bryan getting those opportunities, and now again, people look at Daniel Bryan and go, "Well, if he can do it, why can't I?"
Exactly.
And it's really inspirational. Like I remember a guy who trains with us, Dylan. He's the current champion, DD Crooks, and he said the thing that made him want to made him realize he could be a wrestler was he was at a WWE event, and Pete Dunne came out, and like Didi was sitting in the front row, and Pete Dunne walked past him, and he was the same height as Pete Dunne, and he said, "These guys, they're in shape, but there's nothing natural about me that I can't change that like will stop me from doing this. Like, if I'm the same height as Pete Dunne, why can't I be like Pete Dunne? Why can't I be the next Pete Dunne? Why can't I be the next Daniel Bryan? It's the
Exactly.
same size as me, you know." And
Yeah.
yeah, so Rey Mysterio is always going to be a big influence for smaller guys, 100%.
And then a couple comments here. Sky Sports Video News says, Ricky, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
100% agree. Forward this to Ben Nelson, please. Remember, this is Ben Nelson. You may be talented, but you don't work hard enough. I'm assuming that's what Sky Sports Video News was trying to get across there. Thank you for. I appreciate that.
And
See,
then
good comment.
Wrestling Insider says, Drake, what's your best storyline you've been involved in?
Man, probably me and James Alexander, the man I took this belt from. We've had 3 matches so far. 4 will be in April, and it's just been insane. Just a story of hard work, not giving up. My first match with him, I was 15, and he was defending this belt. We went 25 to 30 minutes. I just got beat, and then I was 17. The rematch, I got a step closer, few steps actually. Once again, I got beat. But the third match, it just took me 15 seconds. And I won this.
15
Now,
seconds?
15 seconds.
That's got to be
And
like a record.
yeah, it might be, but match 4, we're all of us. It's gonna be insane. It's just gonna be insane. It's gonna be a great show, a great match. He's gonna bring the best out of me. I'm gonna do the same to him.
And
And
then
is
Wrestling Insider, this will be the last one then. I think somebody else asked too. How tall are you?
5'10".
5'10". So 5'10", 150. And growing.
Oh yeah.
and
Alright.
you were saying about you and James Alexander's fourth match. Is there a date set for the fourth match?
April 12th.
April 12th. There you go. So, and then is it sold out yet, or is there still tickets available?
I'm not sure. There
All
might
right.
be
Well,
still tickets available, so might as well check.
well, there you go. For people watching who are within the Michigan area or willing to make the travel, have a look at Pure Pro. It is a Pure Pro, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
Pure Pro
Have a look at
Wrestling.
Pure Pro. Have a look at that because if Drake said it himself, it's his best storyline. He feels like it's someone he gets the best work out of, and the guy that he beat for the championship in 15 seconds, and this is their fourth match. I can guarantee, they're just getting better and better at these matches. Get your tickets if they're available. Get them, and if not, beg someone for their ticket. Sit outside and wait, and maybe jump someone for their ticket because you don't want to miss it.
Speaking of
It's going to be
speaking of
generational.
tickets, I think that Malone Rugby Club first show sold out, right?
It is so late, yeah.
Yeah, so that's also
So
over
late.
there in Northern Ireland. Yeah, and you're going against who on that show, Ricky?
Paulo Triassi from Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling in Canada. He's defending his Commonwealth Championship.
Okay.
So, yep, fighting for my first ever international championship, which will be an interesting experience. And yeah, I just can't let it slip. And although I have my own stuff on my mind with the likes of Ben Nelson, I'm not going to drop my guard for a second. And Paulo Triassi needs to understand that, although I'm currently not my best record at Malone, I'm 0-2 at Malone Rugby Club. I'm looking to change that and add a little win there. What better way to start than by beating him for his Commonwealth Championship,
Yeah.
So it's a great show.
He's from Canada, right? Correct?
He is. He's from Canada, Quebec,
Yeah.
I think, if I'm not wrong. Trained by Drew Onyx, a former WWE scout and stuff. Drew Onyx, really talented.
Yep, we had
individual.
him on Keaton's show last.
Oh, yeah.
I think last
Perfect.
week. Yeah.
Yeah,
or
I
the
think it
week
was last week.
before. Well, anyway, yeah, he was a good interview.
But yeah, so trained by Drew Onyx and stuff. And yeah, so can't wait for that. It'll be a really good opportunity. I know he has a bit of a, let's just say, a unique personality, to say the least. So it'll be, hopefully he doesn't talk too much, and hopefully we can just get the wrestle. That's all I'm going to say.
And then
Guy thinks he's a rock star.
Wrestling Insider wants to know if you guys have a live stream highlights or any kind of Is there any, does Pure Pro have a YouTube channel or anything where they have
Yes,
all your
they do.
stuff?
They do. And
Perfect.
sometimes during events on Facebook, we'll go live.
There you go. So, for those who aren't near Michigan and just want to watch the shows live sometimes, they'll be on Facebook, or if not, you can go to their YouTube. So many ways to watch people like Drake and like Tank and the rest of the Pure Pro Wrestling crew. So, 100% recommended. They're a rising promotion, and based off what we're seeing there and how professional the production is, they have a lot of potential to keep growing. And with the people inside it, like Drake and Tank, as I said, they're growing at a fast rate, getting those big matches. It's only a matter of time until the place in general of Pure Pro Wrestling skyrockets. So, start getting your stocks involved in Pure Pro Wrestling is what I'm saying. Definitely
And
something to look out for.
Did we get to everything, Drake? I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think so, unless y'all got more questions.
No, I think I'm all questioned out right now.
Right, I think we got to everything. So, well, I just want to thank you for coming on with us. It was great
Thank you.
watching the matches and everything, and I wish I was more healthy. I mean, I'm under the weather, so I'm not. Normally, I talk a lot. At least
Oh, yeah,
he
we
thinks
know.
I do, but I kind of under the weather this show, so I had to kind of let Ricky. And he's never short for words, so I had to let him do more of the talking on this show. But yeah, so it was a great conversation, and tell Joe that we give him our best here, and
I will.
and Tank as well, and yeah. So thanks for coming on with
Thank you
us.
for having me. It
All
was
right, yeah,
Perfect.
great guest. Was a great
Unbelievable.
guest. All right, Ricky, we're not gonna talk long here, guys. I'm just gonna kind of go over what's coming up on the horizon on the shows coming up, and then because I'm just not, my voice isn't here. I can't keep
Thank
chatting.
God.
So what we got coming up is what's next. I think it's Keaton's show on Sunday. And the theme is there a place for backyard wrestling today? That's kind of Keaton's theme. That's what he wants to talk about. So, like I said, hopefully got some other guests coming in with us that can talk about this. I've got one for sure, and hopefully a former backyard guy. So it'll be a good conversation.
Well, I'm very passionate about this.
Well, I just don't like. I don't like being compared to it. Is what I don't like. Because sometimes people compare us to this shit.
Yeah.
When I say shit, I'm talking hardcore 90s crap that was all about pain and violence.
People who are untrained just hitting each other with shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I had to deal with that when I wrote my book and documentary. And so it's kind of a bad taste. But at the same time, I don't have any problem with people trying to do organic, the art of wrestling in the backyard style. I don't have a problem with it if they're doing it right or trying to do it right. But there's not there's a lot of guys that don't. They just want to do the Mick Foley and the hardcore shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, we'll talk about it. Hopefully my voice will be a little bit better for Sunday. I don't know. We'll see. And then the next Rewind show is, I don't know why the thing's not on there, but it's studio taping 112 from the dry dock. And I don't know. It's okay. I don't like my match on this show at all because I had to go against that damn Russian tag team again, which they sucked. Nobody liked working with them. And we got stuck with them, me and Dredd. So anyway, is what it is. And then our next Forward show is this guy from Full Tilt Wrestling, Jack Garcia. He, the Chaos King. It's kind of a slogan. And be interesting to learn about him. He's going to have some matches that we can watch. And he's, remember, Forward's all about getting started in the business. And he'd be a rookie, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And we'll learn about him, what's going on with him and everything. So it should be a great show.
Perfect.
That'll be in 2 weeks. So, all right. Well, Canary, as you can see, my voice is really going downhill. So,
Perfect. You can just keep it down. So, yep, that was another great episode.
Canary loved this show because I didn't get to talk so much, and he got to talk all the time.
Yep, best show we've had so far. So I just like to say thank you for everyone for tuning in to another episode of NWF Forward. It was great having Drake on. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys then on Sunday. I'll be back again, and then I'll be back next week with Dave, and then with Ricky again in 2 weeks. All right, guys.